Welcome, my name is Greg Thomas from Genesys, and I'm sitting here today with Rich Minns, who is the Vice President and Customer Experience CTO at Capgemini. Rich, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
So let's dive in. So all the buzz is Agentic AI. So from your perspective, is Agentic AI still hype, or are you starting to see organizations really deriving business value?
We're really seeing now Agentic AI drive value. The last 12 months have really driven this shift. For example, we're seeing once you start to root the actual process with true knowledge and true data within your organization, you're able to increase the ability to drive containment on your digital channels. And a great example is we have a retailer who really focused in and drove the right program and used next best offer, next best action type of capabilities, rooted with proper data and monitoring it from a end-to-end point. They were able to have an 11% increase in upsell, a $18 million annual revenue increase, and they also ended up improving their NPS scores. Same goes for billing and collections. We have an organization that was doing billing and collections, and they focused in on the process and were able to drive a 38% increase in self-service. So it's doable, and it requires skill and requires a fortitude to make sure that you're running the process correctly. But it is definitely not hype.
So, trust, compliance, explainability, these are all shifting from kind of check boxes to things that the board and sort of the management team really cares about and priorities. When you think about trust and sort of related issues, what do you see as the biggest hurdles for enterprises who are trying to adopt AI and maybe Agentic specifically?
Yep. So the biggest issue across all of the trust and capabilities that are around responsibility of your responsible data is really just architecting where your data is. Mm-hmm. And we see that done right, and you can take Genesys as that intelligence layer, that intelligence experience piece, but you have to support it with data. And so within Capgemini, we have this framework that we use that allows for responsible AI, and it guides with where your data is at. I look at two things that are important: is data gravity and process gravity. And in data gravity, we know that you want to keep the data as close to the interaction point as possible, but yet not spend a lot of dollars and effort moving it. Mm-hmm. So what happens is that a lot of people send data back and forth for no value. And then process gravity, you look at between your CCaaS or your contact center system and your CRM systems of where is that process really adding value. And so those two combinations allow us to really put a proper blueprint together to help you obtain those layers of data. And then you apply a trust layer on top of that says, do I have responsible use of that data and the guardrails in place to make sure that nothing goes off?
So I want to go back to something you said. So you talked about data gravity and process gravity.
Yep.
So give us like a quickie soundbite on each of those as to like how you define them and why they're important.
Yep. So we'll start off with data gravity because that's really the foundation. And what we see is and we'll take an example of call transcript. You bring in that transcript, and Genesys is a perfect example of a system that would have that transcript. And there's many actions that you can use off of that transcript. And so you want to process those transcripts close to that data. I don't want to send an entire transcript to a back-end system and say, do actions and do all this other stuff. So making sure that system of record is using that mass amount of data is very important. It's also important because what happens is like in systems like Agent Assist, that data is going to be used real time. And you want to drive sentiment off of that transcript. You want to be able to, so we consider data gravity is very important and making sure your AI systems are responsive and they're providing the right data, and they'll hallucinate less if you have the proper data gravity structure. Now, process gravity goes back to say, okay, if I have two systems that have the same features, which is happening in this day and age, and those two systems are like, I'll take a transcript and do actions out of both of them. Well, why would I ship an entire log of data to another system so that it could create the actions? Now, unless there's some specific science or prompt capabilities that are different, what we're seeing is that process gravity is so important because I can reduce the cost of data transmission, reduce the cost of AI processing, and make sure that I'm not spending a boatload driving this interaction between these two systems. Now, with agent to agent and MCP, there is some like harmonization that can happen. But even with that, you still don't want to ship a massive amount of data. So data gravity is very important. I swear by it. It's something that we've been pushing our team to kind of think about as we architect these things. And then process gravity is something that I honestly think, like, when the big systems are in play, they need to fight for making sure that the process gravity is centralized to their system. Now, yes, it's going to drive more usage. It's going to drive it's going to drive more usage on that platform, and you'll be driving consumption. But the reality is that to the customer standpoint, it's very important to make sure that they're getting the transaction done fast. They're seeing the results done extremely fast, and they're making sure that the agent or whoever's experiencing, whether the agent or the customer, is getting that experience quickly.
So if you could give one piece of advice to a CX executive who's watching this and wants to embrace agentic AI, what would it be? And that can either be what should they do or what should they avoid?
When we talk to organizations and they say they either have a mandate that they have to start implementing AI, which is unfortunate that that's a mandate on their performance or KPIs, or if they say they truly want to be AI first and they want to see how they can drive optimizations and savings, we say, look across your value chain, find high growth, high impact areas that seem to be would drive that business outcome faster. That's where we start. And a lot of times we're not going to boil the ocean. We're not going to completely rip out everything. This is partnering together to take what they have in play, bring the right solutions in play that actually drive value, and then identify the use cases and enable. Great example that we see is a lot of organizations put agent assist in, or what you're talking is Agentic Copilot. And they don't understand what the value they're trying to get. The reduction in average hold time, sometimes an after call work reduction. All of those things are great, but when you start to really implement it, you miss that experience that's happening on the agent side. And so what you could say is, okay, it's a high value, high impact area, but I have to now across the board make sure that that exact segment of my business is nurtured and managed correctly. And so a lot of times what we do is we go in for an agent assist, agent copilot type situation. We look at the experience of the agent, the experience of the customer, put them all together, map out that journey, and make sure that all the journey points have touch points across that. So, and I think what's important, and going back to your question of what do you recommend for somebody who's doing this? You have to understand the journey. You have to understand what you're trying to achieve. You have to understand the technologies at play. It's not just swing it in and hope everything works. 2 years ago, it was an IT project. And what was back then was, I'm going to jam it in and make you use it and see. And now everybody's realizing it's more part of the business, it's driving business value. There's an experience impact. And with that, a lot of organizations are starting to let the business run those projects, which is great. They're actually running them as products within their organization. And what we're seeing also is that I think the biggest change that's happening is if you take somebody and root that business into using AI, and I had this conversation with my team recently, is you got to embrace it. You've got to understand how it impacts your daily life. I don't care if you're building your reservation, taking hotel reservations, or you're searching restaurants or buying the next pair of pants on AI, but you understand that what those benefits are, and not just the generative side, but the optimization of your daily life, then you can start to reflect that into your business. And that's what we're seeing. Is a lot of these business-minded people have started to use AI more. And then they go, well, I know how this relates to my business and how it relates to my customers, and I'm able to actually drive benefit that way. And so that's where we see success.
I imagine it also, like living by that philosophy also means that you don't have as many like disparate pools of data either, where you're like, oh, we sent that over there now, so we can't use it to run this AI flywheel right here.
Yeah. And I'll go, one of the things that, we've been doing this almost 2 years now with AI and hype, and making sure that people are getting it done. And our tagline in Capgemini is make it real. And all of that experience is really forcing us and making sure that we can make it real. But what we've seen is going back into whether it's somebody did it as a side project or however, we walk into an organization, we see a massive amount of data scramble. It's just going everywhere. I don't think there was a maturity that there was maybe a year and a half, 2 years, or an organization hasn't really recognized that it's costing them money to do that. So it's a big benefit if you take it that way. And I think now, one of the things we're seeing, especially with systems like Genesys, is that intelligence fabric is such an important area. If you think about where Genesys is standing in the customer's ecosystem, it's seeing every touch point possible for the customer. And what you can use with that data, architected correctly, is an unimaginable value, is really what it is. So we've been talking about this front layer as this intelligence fabric. We're also talking about it's your CX intelligence layer. And where we've seen value is making sure you architect it with that type of approach first.
Okay, so for folks watching, like, what's the one thing you think they should do differently starting tomorrow to really make these CX transformations real?
If you really looked at your business as a whole and you knew your hot points, your pain points for your organization, there is a solution that is out there. Some may be very hard to achieve, but if you take all the understanding that you know about AI and you know where your data is, you should immediately just map it out. Map out that journey, and then start to push how to achieve and make that impact on that high impact area. I think that's something that a lot of organizations have failed to do. They make it a massive transformation, or they bundle it into something much larger. And let's start small, show immediate value. Start small, show immediate value, and then recognize where those solutions are making impact quickly.
Rich Minns from Capgemini, thanks for being here.
Thank you. Definitely. It was great being here.